This is Gemara Chulin and Daf Kuf Yod Ches. And we're only on Kuf Yod Ches and Aleph. We're on the first wide line. As we continue into the little bit of a difficult sugya of Tumas Eichlin, says the Gemara Tanan Hasam, we learned in a Mishnah over there. Over there is a Mishnah in Uksin. Says the Mishnah, Kol Shu Yad V'lo Yishaymer, Tamei Umetame. Anything that is a Yad, but is not a Shaymer. Something that is a handle, but it's not guarding the item itself. Like a bone of meat is the Yad for the meat. However, it is not a Shaymer, in as much as it does not protect the meat. The halacha is, it is Tamei, Umetame, and it gives off Tuma, but Ve'inu Mitzdaref does not combine to reach the requisite amount for Tumas. Shomer Aval Bisheno Yad, but on the flip side of selling guards, but it's not a Yad. Tame Umitzdaref. And finally, Lo Yad, V'lo Shomer, if it is neither, then what is the halacha? And the Mefarshim explain, Rashi says, like the hair, the little fuzzy parts in the fruit, lo tam v'lemetame, does none of them. So now says the Gemara, what is the makar for this halacha? Yadais hechi kisiva, where the halachas have yadais written. Tichsev, as the pasuk says, v'chiyutan mayim al zera. V'naval min avlasam alav tameihu lachem, and we darshan lachem lekol shebitz archeichem, anything that fulfills your needs, lerabois, which comes to include as a yadais, which helps and it aids the food as it's a handle, and therefore this tama. Uksiv chiyamos min aveima asher hi lachem lachem chol shebitz archeichem, which rabbis, which comes to include as a yadais, which comes to include nachamal the yadais, yad lahachnes ulaitzi, something which has the capacity to bring in and give out, to bring on tuma and to give off tuma. Bringing the makar for yadais, which is step number one, we go to step number two, which of course is shaymer. Shaymer lahachnes ulaitzi. A shaymer is lahachnis ulaitzi loit tzarech kra, does not need a pasuk kal v'chaymer, which is a proof miyad asi, which is a raya that we can learn from yad. What's the raya? Uma yad sheina magina, a yad does not protect. Machneses umaitziya, brings in and brings out. Shoimer, which protects, it's a higher level. Lo kol shekain, should it certainly not give off to bring in tuma, bring off tuma. So therefore, if that is true, shoimer dekasev rachmana alamali. So why lemaisa did the Torah have to write a shoimer? Shmamina, you know what it teaches us? Litzarif, says the Gemara, is doch given a raya that it's mitzarif, and that's how we know that a shoimer is going to be at a higher level. How do we know, Nachamal, that Hashem is going to be in a higher level? Because in Svara, we already know that it should be at least the same as a Yad, and it's not. From the fact that it's not, shows us, says the Gemara, that it bumps it up to the next level, that it's even going to be Litzarif. Frak the Gemara, 1 second, Veima. But let us say, Shoimer, says the Gemara, maybe Pshat is that we assumed that the baseline is the Hachlis Ulaiti, Tami Umetami, and then we added upon that. Frank the Gemara, how do you know that? Maybe step one is Lahachnis V'Leilaitzi, and then step two is going to be Lahachnis V'Leilaitzi. Maybe he just adds on that Nikuda, but Aviyad Laitzi V'Shemer L'Tzarif Lai. But maybe you wouldn't go to the next level. Responds the Gemara, Yad Lachnis. That's not a tzad to say the yad only goes one way. Why? Because says the Gemara, misvara, hashta, iyule mayayla, afuge mibai. It's a davar bashit. If it brings on tama, is there any svara to say that it won't be mitame further? And that's why the baseline is going to be that it goes mitame uletame machnes ulahoitzi. Frakti Gemara vema yad lahoitzi veloy lahachnes shoimer lahoitzi ulahachnes. Maybe that is the level that a shoimer goes both. Meaning, maybe the yad goes one and the shomer is on top of the aval yad lahachnes the shomer l'tzari v'loy. Says the Gemara, no, we have a Joshua yad yisera ksev taner v'kirayim yutats lochem l'shabbatzarechechem. The rabbis say yadais, which comes to Yimarbe, the yadais. Frag to Gemara. Okay, so this whole shtickle Torah only works if we have an extra yad. There's an extra word yad in the Torah. Then we have the drasha. Frag to Gemara, behemi yana biyater. In classical Gemara sense, frag to Gemara, how do we know which one is a miyutar? How do you know which one is extra? Says the Gemara, Lich Rachmana B'Zrayim, V'leisi Hanach Minayu. The Torah should have written the laws of halachas of Yadais by Zrayim, by seeds. And we will learn other things from it. If that was the case, you know what I would tell you? Mal Zrayim Shekin Tomasa Miruba. You can't learn on everything else. Why not? Because Zrayim is Tomasa Miruba. Zrayim is a higher level. So let's rachmana b'taner v'leisi anach minei. Malataner shkei metame me'aviroi. A taner has its chomra. Let's rachmana b'nevela v'leisi anach minayu. Malavena shkei metame adam. U'betam b'masa. V'tuma yoitza migufa. And it's Tomi Yotzei. So each one of our three limudim has chumras. So says the Gemara, since each one has a chumrah over the other one, if the Torah did not say yodos by them, how would we be able to learn out to the others? So says the Gemara, okay, if each one has a chumrah, so in classical Gemara sense, says the Gemara, we can't learn out one from one. But Tesi Chadami Tarti, we have three, so learn out one from two. Says Mar Hey Tesi. Zram has its level of chumrah, of uniqueness, that has to have a Huchshar Likabul Tom. Amar Avon Rabbi Yeshua, Peirosh L'Ochshur, Ketanor Shlanigru Malachton Dami. A Peirosh that we're not Ochshar Likabul Tama, like a tanner that's not finished. And therefore, says the Gemara, Peirosh are not any more unique than something else. And therefore, the Torah could have said Yadais by a tanur and by nevelis. And from there we can learn out Zerayim. Elo parachachi asked Gemara, Malanish came with Tamim, Shaloi Benegia, the Vela, Tanur, don't touch it. Okay, says Gemara, okay, let's try again. Only write it by Zerayim, only write it by Nevelois, B'teisei Hanoch, Malanish kin Oichel, their food. Says the Gemara, learn it out from Tanur and Zerayim. Yad de Nevela. Lamali, why need you have a Nevela, meaning Liad Nevela? Teneu Eni Liad Dalma. Yad. You need it for Yad Dalma. So therefore, says the Gemara, what do we see? Yad lahaknis, yad lahoitzi, shoimer litzarif. And that's why we have the extra yad. And that's why we can add on the fact that the shomer, the extra limit of shomer is going to be what? That it is litzarif. Continues the Gemara, Vakati yad nevela itzrech. We do need yad for nevela. Why? Tila because Rachmana ben nevela avamina dayoy lava min adil yoyz kinidon. That what? Mal hanoch lemitami adam. I would have thought we have a classical dayoy. That what? When it comes to yadois of a tanur, the yad of these zerayim, Loy mitami adam, they're not mitami people. Af nevela loy mitami adam. So the reason the Torah is the yad is by nevela is to teach us that the yad and nevela can give off the tumah even to an adam. So the yad of nevela is not miyutar, is not extra. So says the Gemara, El yad din nevela mitzach sarich. You're right, we need it. V'shomer din nevela hu deloi. So what do you not? You don't need the shomer, mention of shomer by nevela. Lamai yelchsecha kasi rachmana. Why did the Torah write it? It's tarufei. If the Torah writes shomer nevela to teach us that it can combine with other food. Amr lo litzarif. It's not true. He said it's not mitzarif. Ulahoitzi, and if the pasuk comes to teach us that it gives off tumah something else, kavachamer miyad asi, clearing out from yad, elos, or rather, 2 lines on the bottom, it's not necessary by shomer nevela today. We need liyad nevela. Let's apply it by yad nevela. That, so it's a double step, and that's where it's going to teach us yad alma. That the fact that it says yad by food teaches us that it can give off tumah. We learn from there that all types of food could become tameh as well. So yad lahoitzi yad lahachnis v'shomer litzaref, and that's going to be the end of the math. But says the Gemara, even that not so simple. As we turn over to kufir chesam beis ve'ima. Says the Gemara, Imein inyan l'shomer d'nevela, Tineu inyan l'shomer d'alma. Why are you skipping to yad? Shomer l'hachlis v'shomer l'taref. Aval yad l'hachlis loi. How do you know to apply it to yad? Elo. Rather, says the Gemara, Meikara ki ksiva yad achnasa ksivi. Where does it say yad in the Torah? It's regarding to Achnasa, imparting tumah to the food. Once we know it can impart tumah, we learn through a kal v'chaimer that it certainly can give off tumah. And once we know that a yad could both be moitzi or lahachnis, we then can extend it to the food as well. And therefore, when the Torah says by the shemer of the food, it must come to teach us that it is a litzaref, and that's where we know the extra level of the shemer lipri. But says the Gemara, l'shemer de nevela lamali. Why do we need the shemer of a nevela? Says the Gemara, we need it legufe. We need it for it itself, ulemai. And to what specific halacha do we need it? Ilitz tarufei. If it's a teacher that a shemer can combine with nevela to the requisite amount of tama. Amre, we said lo mitzarif. Ilach l'zalatzi kavachamer miyat. Asya. So says the Gemara, so what do we need it for? Mil sadasa b'kavachamer tzara v'kasav lakra. Says מאיר, you're right. We don't really need it bichlal. And something that we could have learned out from a kal v'chaimer, the Torah goes and writes it in a pasuk. Either way, a fascinating idea that the Torah does. Frakti Gemara, but wait, if this is true, Shemer d'Alma, when it comes to Hashem Tomer Imalach lahachnis, Omel Sadasi v'kavachimer tarav v'kasav lakra, responds the Gemara, Hecha de'ika lemedrash tarshinon. Says the Gemara, no. When there is a potential drasha, we rather go down the road of a drasha rather than tell us that the Torah just wrote it for no reason. Says the Gemara, that is Mekar number 1. Klape the halachais, the yad is hotzi lahachnis, and the shemer is extra, is going to be litzarif. Says the Gemara, Rav Chaviva Amar, no, a new limud. Shiny shemer de nevela, kiven de maisa, yad ka'avitz, the shemer nevela performs the function of a yad. Therefore, a yad shadina lei, we assign it, we consider the pasuk of yad to be referencing it. And now the Gemara goes back to that which we learned yesterday in Daf Kuf Yitzayin Beis, that when we have seeds that you're planting them and they're inside their shemer lipri, Maskiv lo Rav Yehuda bar Yishmael, That which we learned that the pitum of the rimain is mitzarefes with the rimain for the requisite amount of tama, v'hanit shalai, and its nate, ein mitzaref. V'amai, why is this true? Karikana kol zera zarua. V'leko. And furthermore, original Mishnah, already you know that. Where do we know that the R combines with the meat for the requisite amount of tama? So says the Gemara, says the Torah, Chad l'shemer d'Israim, Chad l'shemer d'Ilanois, Enach l'shemer basar ubeitzim v'dagim. And that's going to be the makar for the din in the Mishnah as we opened up this parak on Daf Kuf Yitzayin. Says the Gemara, let's go a little bit further into how yadais apply. Omar Rav Chia bar Ashi Omar Rav, yesh yad l'toma v'in yad l'achshir. There is a yad l'toma but not l'achshir. Rav Yechon Omar, yesh yad l'toma ule achshir. B'may kom efligi, iba yisei masvar, iba yisei makra. Iba yisei makra, ma'asav v'mikra, nedrash l'fanav l'fanav. Omar yisei mikra, nedrash l'fanav l'fanav. That's arguing in pasuk, arguing in drasha, how to darshan Torah. How do you in Svara consider Achshir Toma? Is actually considered the beginning of Toma or not? It says the Gemara, I'll bring you a raya. Tani Gavazei Rav Yechon Shem Sheishala Toma Kachichala Achshir Shem Shein Mekablan Toma Ella Lechse Yish Talshu Kach Ein Mekablan Achshir Ella Ad Sheyish Talshu. A raya to Rav Yechon says the Gemara, that is not going to be makabel toma shalshu only when it's separated from the ground. If it was attached, then there would be nothing tar. We're going to stop over here. I'll pick it up from Rav in the next year. B'siyata dishmaya.